Yeah, so that's it right there. Yo, 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 you already know who it is. It is your boy, Mr. I Am Eddie Jackson, and we back with another one. This is episode 24. Kobe. You know what I mean? This is the Kobe episode, you know. Rest in peace, my guy. But I want to let y'all know something. Everybody that tapped in last week for AP's episode, we truly appreciate the support, man. We appreciate everybody, all the feedback that we're just receiving about the show, man. It's overwhelming to be honest, you know. But God is good, and you know He's faithful, and we just receiving, you know, reaping the rewards of our good faith, man, and our good behavior, and being able to just provide a platform, man, for everybody to be able to come on and just talk about how God is moving in their gift and allowing them to use their gift to pour into the community. This week's guest is fire. When I say fire, I'm gonna drop the emoji. It's gonna be right here. Fire. It's Caroline Inspires. Listen, y'all, welcome to the 24th episode of the Director's Den, and today we are thrilled to introduce our incredible guest, Caroline Inspires. Hailing from North Tulsa, Oklahoma, Caroline is a dynamic TEDx speaker and artist who effortlessly blends activism, storytelling, and artistry to spark meaningful conversations and inspire change. With an unapologetic and authentic voice, she's touched the lives of over 37,000 youth across 19 states, leaving a lasting impact on communities worldwide. Caroline's inspiring journey has seen her featured on Abercrombie and Fitch's, For Justice, For Joy, Mural Tea, and honored with a mural in the Historic Greenwood District. Through the Doorways to Hope project, her influence reaches the classrooms to corporate boardrooms, collaborating with brands like California Friday Night Lights and Student Success Agency, and appearing on platforms with renowned artists and activists. A seasoned advocate for youth and community outreach, Caroline holds degrees from the University of Oklahoma and the Ohio State University. As the founder of Caroline Inspires LLC, she secured over $58,000 in donations to provide vital resources for Black youth. Formerly Miss Black Ohio and Miss Black Oklahoma U.S. Ambassador, Caroline continues to shine through her Be Your Mark movement and unwavering dedication to an authentic leadership. Join us as we dive into the captivating world of Caroline Inspires, where her passion, creativity, and connection illuminate every space she enters. What's going on, Caroline?
Hey.
Hey.
That's a good bio.
I fumbled on a couple pieces, but, I was surprised myself when I was reading it. I think I got halfway down earlier and I got sidetracked with the kids.
You done well. You did well.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Caroline, it's a pleasure having you on the show. You just left a pod. Life is busy. It seems like you're just on the move.
Yeah.
You got a lot of things going, and so we're just gonna hop right into it because I believe time is so valuable these days, and I just want to make sure that we honor a lot of your time. Caroline, you've been described as a double threat TEDx speaker and an artist. How do you balance these two roles, and how do they complement each other in your work?
How do I balance being a speaker and an artist? Let's see. They inform one another. So the best way yeah, they inform one another, they complement one another, and so the balance is really just in trusting that God trusted me to be able to do both and to be able to do both well. And so the balance, oh, there we go, because this is a quotable. The balance is in the trust. I like that. Yeah, that's how I balance it. I got to trust the God,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying, God. And I'll be honest, I feel like I go through seasons where I'm doing a whole bunch of speaking, but my artistry is
On the
back burner or suffering, not struggling, but just it's not getting as much attention as speaking.
Yeah.
And then I'll go through seasons where artistry is boom, boom, boom. And speaking, I'm not doing as much speaking. And so, not that I've accepted it as, oh, this is just the way life is, but until I guess, get it to where I want it to be, I'm going to just keep working it, honestly. So,
Well, and to find that balance, I mean, what type of routines have you put in place to kind of help you stay, the course? Because sometimes I know as a creative, it's easy to lean one side and just be one side heavy.
Yeah. And
going. But there also is a season for focusing on one thing at a time.
For sure.
How do you manage those? And, at what point do you say, you know what? I've done this so long, I need to now start pouring back into this other bucket over here.
I pray. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And then I remember. So my prayer is, because so the thing is, like, I love singing. I love doing poetry. I love speaking. I love the contract work that I do with young people inside of schools and youth serving organizations. I love it all. All of those things don't pay the same amount, if we're going to be honest.
Right.
So that's that.
Right. That's a big fact.
Let's talk about these things, right?
That's a big fact.
So one, I have to pray. Really,
Okay.
I really do have to pray. But then two, I have to remember that each of the different callings on my life, the speaking, that allows me to reach certain people. My singing allows me to connect with certain people. My poetry allows me to connect with other people. And then literally the programming that I'm doing inside of schools and with other youth serving organizations, that allows me. So I do the best that I can because God didn't put me in a box. I do the best that I can not to put myself in a box because I never feel like, okay, I done spoke a lot, I need to not speak anymore. I think that if I have all these things, this is what God told me. You're a speaker, you're an artist, you this. And then there's still things that I still don't even know about myself, right?
Right.
But if this is what God placed in me, then I have to be able to do all of these things. And it's just the human side of trying to make it all work. And that's a journey. Like I might
Some
not.
people call it and they label it ADD. That's the that's like the official like doctor term for somebody that's all over the place. Somebody that's very, most creatives are ADD. I believe that there's times where I've even seen in my own life where I'm like, I'm jumping, I'm doing photography, senior photos, I'm doing sports, I'm doing a movie, I'm doing a docuseries. On top of this, I'm doing stuff for the church. I'm pouring, you know what I mean? Like you find yourself in so many different areas.
Yeah.
But what I hear from you is, if God gave it to me, it's mission.
Yeah.
And it's something that can be accomplished with the right structure.
Absolutely. And it's ministry. But I think, because I'm not one to quickly subscribe to labels, I think that it requires discipline. So discipline is another thing that allows me, because even the Bible says it, you can do all of these things, but is it productive? Like, is this beneficial? Like, yes, you can do this.
Right.
Yes, I am good. I could go be a teacher, but then that limits me to being in school every day of the week at one place in one particular time. That's not my ministry. God has called me to travel and reach beyond just one particular building. And so it requires discipline to discern between what I love to do and what I like to do and what I'm called to do and what I'm chosen to do and what I'm positioned to do and what I'm expected to do and what's required of me to do. Right. So discipline allows me to, there we go. I'm putting it together. What allows me to stay balanced? Trust, me trusting what God gave me,
Mm-hmm.
me being disciplined
Mm-hmm.
with the things that God gave me. Ooh, come on. And me being devoted to what God gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning I'm literally waking up every day saying I'm giving to be devoted to something means I'm giving myself over to this every single day, any moment that I have, except for when you're resting and you are supposed to rest. But
Right.
outside of that, my time is
Right.
devoted to the things that I'm aware of that I'm supposed to be doing. So it's okay that I'm speaking. It's okay that I'm doing poetry. It's okay that I'm singing. I can do these things, and I can do these things well.
You know, and I think, you know, that's like a big challenge for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are multifaceted in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like you said, sing, create, do this, do that. And when you know that about yourself, it's almost selfish to not give it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's how we feel when you contain that.
Uh-huh.
If you're the one that embodies it, you think, like, why would I not give the world this?
Yeah.
But then it's like, not every area of my life is socially accepted or agreed with.
Yeah.
Or this is a niche for this fan base, right?
Yeah.
But this fan base don't merge over here. I feel like for me, I feel like I clash so much
Okay.
when it comes down to like, because you want this fan base over here to rock with you, what you do over here.
I don't.
See, I be trying to get everybody to commune. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got an audience of one.
I feel you.
And I mean that. And that's not just me trying to be with a colloquial saying. That's me saying I don't even, like, people will be like, I'm a fan. And I don't know what that means. Like, it's certain words. I have blinders or blockers up. Because you could be a fan this moment, and then the moment I say something else that you don't agree with,
Right.
you're not a fan no more. But if I allowed your fanism, I don't even know if that's a word, but it's a word today. If I allowed your fanism to make me feel good, give me a boost of confidence,
Right.
the moment you take it away, then I guess there goes some of my confidence too. So I'm not concerned. And you will learn in this interview, I ain't never been one that's been too concerned with who accepts me and who doesn't. Like, sure, when I was younger, but that's why I am how I am now, because there was a point in time I cared and I shouldn't have cared. And so now,
when you've been through the fire and like,
you here one day and you can be gone, and I can't wrap my ministry around, I can't wrap my message around whether or not you're going to accept me or not, as long as I'm being obedient to my call and showing up which is why, that's why I show up how I show up. Because what my hair look like ain't got nothing to do with my ministry. How many tattoos I got ain't got nothing to do with my ministry. How many piercings I got ain't got nothing to do with my ministry. It's plenty of people. I just probably X'd out 50,000 groups right then and there by all of these different. It ain't got nothing to do with it.
Right.
And so I lose people daily. I gain people daily, but God gonna be here and I'm gonna be here. And the people that's supposed to receive or get whatever it is they're supposed to get through me, they gonna get it. Yeah. Whether my hair is blue, purple, red, orange, tattoo, got a sweatsuit on or not, like, it don't matter.
I received that because I feel like, one thing that's very hard these days, especially with it being a microwave pop generation, like, you want people trying to go viral overnight, and just things, so much pressure, just like nonverbal pressure from social media and from that, it causes a sense of non-authenticity to creep into a creative's life or somebody that is balancing those things. I've had it happen to me before. To where I'm like looking, and then when you finally like get to a moment or you have somebody in your circle like pull you to the side, like, bruh, what?
Yeah.
What? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and you snap out of it, you like, hold on, was I really out here moving like that? You know what I mean? Because I've learned over time, and I've shared this on the last 3 episodes, and it keeps being relevant. KFC Images stands for Kings for Christ Images. That's the LLC. But for many years, I hid it because because I didn't want people to see Christ, right?
Yeah.
And be judged off of that when I'm trying to go after certain business.
Yeah,
Plus,
I got you.
Plus, on top of that, when you are operating, which a lot of us are operating when we first get into something that we love doing and we're finding our passion, we get trapped into a space to where we really don't have any boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? There's no structure to what you got going on. I remember my wife pulled me to the side one time and I did a scene for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was like at a strip club and telling her about it. And I remember she just asked me, and it's always stuck with me. She said, do you have, I forget the exact words she said, but it was like, do you have any principles? Do you have any morals? Do you have, like, what do you stand on?
That's good.
If somebody approaches you today and says, we got $1 million deal for you to come shoot porn, would you take it?
That's a good question.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's something I really, as a man at the time, I'm like, well,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go downstairs. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I had to really digest that. Like, what is your foundation?
Yeah.
What do you stand for? Will you accept anything? Is the dollar what you truly going after?
Yeah,
and I feel like once you start really realizing and evaluating yourself and your business like that, you start climbing out of that hole.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I was just in conversation with myself. I talk to myself a lot. A lot of creators, we talk to ourselves a lot.
That's a fact.
I don't care what you say. I be talking to myself.
That's a fact.
Every day, every chance I get. Anyway, talking to myself today, and I was just reflecting on how, I mean, God is the bomb. I ain't got time to tell it. I'm going to live a long life, and it still won't be enough time to tell how good God is, right? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about how right now, so I flew these kids down from Columbus to Tulsa, 7 young people, all expenses paid, 7 days, flew them down there, trying to raise over $7,000 to get these young people to come down. All expenses paid to minimize my out-of-pocket costs, right? Mm-hmm. And in this quest, I'm reaching out to people. Some people I know, and I feel like some people I know, they played in my face. Strangers, people that ain't never seen me, gave willingly. Some people I knew gave, didn't ask no questions. Long story short, flew these kids down there, ended up raising close to, in donations, probably received over $8,000 in donations in about a month and a half, right? Mm. Got back June 3rd, flew out June 5th to go to Memphis, had a keynote of luncheon, got back, drove to Indiana State that Saturday, June 8th, got back. I ain't got nothing on the books for the rest of this year. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 7 months. Nothing on the books. Rent done went up. Mm. And I'm sitting up here like, dang, God. Okay, God. Nothing on the books. Rent going up. Bills still due. And in that moment, the word peace came to mind. Mm. Because I'm like, but God, what I do have is my peace. And what I also have is my patience. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, maybe it's the alliteration, the poetry in me. I said, peace and patience is what positions me to be prosperous. Wow. And then I had to Google the word prosperity. Mm. And prosperity literally means to be successful in material or financial things. And I said, just talking to myself, and I said, God, my prosperity ain't just limited to contracts. Mm-hmm. My prosperity comes from my contact, my encounter with God. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm prosperous. That's why these contracts, they matter. Mm-hmm. And I can say that in the midst of me saying, that's not a lie. That's not like, mm-hmm. You can have stuff in the works as an artist, but until they sign it, it don't mean nothing. I don't have anything signed for the rest of this year. But my rent is paid. My bills are paid. Amen. So I'm prosperous because I've been, me and God are in, These contracts, y'all do what y'all want to do. Either they gonna get signed or they not.
Yeah.
But me and God I'm gonna stay in contact with the one that matters. I'm gonna keep having this encounter. And so I'm saying that to say, yeah, in a moment, I'm sure somebody else will be like, oh, you need to go get a job. Like, oh, you need to go for what? For what? When you walk, when you commit, when you are devoted to something, this life, the calling that God places on you, you got to make a decision. Is this where I pause or is this where I press? You got to make a decision. Is this where I panic or is this where I praise? What you do, God, that's the beauty of God. God gives us choice. That's what makes it so sweet. God, I chose. Ooh, God, I could have panicked in this moment, but I chose to praise. Like, I be proud of myself. Like, no.
Like them small wins.
I ain't even gonna measure it. A win is a win is a win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a win because I just won. Small, big, little, none of that. I ain't got to quantify. It's a win because I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't pull out. I pressed forward. Like in a moment when it's like, dang, man, people keep telling me you know how many people, man, you know how many people says to me, oh, this summer I'm going to get you here. Oh, I'm going to get you here this school year. You know how many emails I send out? You know how many calls, how many voicemails, and people just look at it and don't say nothing? I can't worry about none of that.
Right.
None of it, because that ain't never been the stuff that has sustained me.
Right.
Not internally and not externally. And I'd be doggone if I start now. So I stand on what I know ain't gonna shake. That's what I stand on. Those are my and as time goes on, as I continue to grow, even in this journey, that's what allows me to what you stand on. What's my principles? Whatever God got.
Yeah.
It might be uncomfortable, but it's cool. I've learned a long time ago. That's how I grow.
Everything's easier when you give it to him. It's like the pressure is just. For example, I've lost 3 jobs.
I read
over the course of all this time, just a year and a half, and the space he's allowed that he's created for me, is like I would have never put myself in this position.
Of course,
ever.
Of course not.
And these things had to happen. I'm working a work from home job that makes $17 an hour, right? I got kids, wife. I gotta make sure stuff is taken care of. But then he buzzed me with a job that has endless OT. It also gives me the space to be able to do the things I love. You get what I'm saying? And so you start reevaluating life. And when you at the bottom, I've realized that the bottom is the top.
That part.
Like and shout out to Zach Flair, because Zach Flair said on 270's episode, and this has stuck with me since that episode. He said, when I simplified all of my activities and all of the things that I do, my mission, when I simplified it, is when everything was okay. As everything took off. It's like we be feeling like sometimes we gotta have so much. I need to get this. I need to get that. Like, truth be told, if you out there watching, you don't have to get started with a Sony camera.
Right.
You don't need a Sony camera. You don't need an $8,000 camera.
Right.
You can go, this cell phone will get you right here. Right what you need. They build it right here.
Right.
You rocking it every day.
Right.
Like, you don't, like, and it's never just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, some people are blessed with, like, fast beginnings.
Right.
And that's what this community's for, is to give people gems so that people can have those shortcuts and you don't have to go through the mud, knees down like I did. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, you still going to face some situations that you're going to have to go through the trenches. But when you get there, embrace it. And realize, I'm telling you, that's why it's great to subscribe to the big G, you know what I mean? Not the little one.
That one.
You know what I mean? Because when you subscribe to him, that's a whole nother, like, you talk about peace. Peace is that's a whole nother bag. That's a bag that actors that get paid millions to be on screen, to be in the theaters, to be famous, they don't even have peace.
No.
and then they kill themselves.
Searching for
Take
it.
their life.
Yep.
They all whole life, man. Got all the money in the world.
Yep.
No peace.
Yep. Going crazy.
More money, more problems. You get what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, I believe there's only problems when it's not God money. Because all good money ain't God money.
My mentor from undergrad told me that, because I had all these different opportunities. She said, Caroline, I'm going to tell you, all good money ain't God money. And that stuck with me. She told me that about years ago. Miss Crystal from Detroit was my advisor at the University of Oklahoma. And it just puts stuff into perspective. Like, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And I think I've come close. No, I ain't got to think about it. I feel like I've lost my soul. Because I didn't fully subscribe to the big G, right? I didn't fully subscribe. Because the truth of the matter is, how do I say this? The truth of the matter is, it's a lot to be great. Like, it's not easy being amazing blazing. Like, it's really not. Yeah. It's not, like, it's not at all. Because you can't, I mean, I can't not say it, but to whom much is given, much is required. And when you're great, when you're amazing, like, yes, that means you have a lot, but then that also means you have to give a lot. And that's a big responsibility to accept. And I didn't accept that for a long time. Yeah. And so I was, I lived I probably had like a triple life or something. I think that's what I would call it. I probably had a triple life. Yeah, that's what it was, because I grew up 2-parent household, mom and daddy. They just celebrated. Shout out to my mom and daddy. They've been married 50 years,
wow,
which is amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. They've been married 50 years, which was beautiful to see in the house. And I'm a PK, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Raised in the church, know the church, all that good stuff. And then I always say I was also raised in the streets.
Right.
And the streets got a hold of me at a very young age. And I like the streets. I like church when I went to a small country church, because people in the country are nice. They just
Tulsa, right?
Yeah,
North Tulsa.
You know, Tulsa is the city. In North Tulsa, that's where I'm from.
That's the country.
North Tulsa is where I'm from. North. Not the south side, not the east side, not the west side.
She said she's standing
and not
on that.
Just Tulsa. I'm from North Tulsa.
Stand on it.
Tulsa is the city. But when we went to church, the church that I grew up in, that my daddy used to preach at, well, actually, he's a preacher, pastor, I don't know how them terms work, but he there now. It was Mount Zion Baptist Church, and that's in Biggs, Oklahoma. That's mean, like, when you drive there, you got to know where you're going, because your GPS ain't going. So that's where I used to love church. And then we started going to another church that was on the south side of town. And personally, when I was a kid, I felt like the people at that church, the children, that they didn't really understand me. And so I used to try to fight in church. Because I don't care.
Now you painting this picture. You said it's out in the country.
No, this was my country church, and I love the country church, and they were so nice. But then we left that church and we went to a big church on the south side, and that's the more like developed side of town, and that's the more that's where we started going. And that's where I felt like they did not like me. So Tulsa, this is what you got to understand about Tulsa. Tulsa is very divided, segregation-wise. Like, north side, historically black side. East side of Tulsa, historically Hispanic. South side of Tulsa, historically white. West side, that's like your mix of everybody.
Right.
When we started going to church on the south side, there was more white people, or black people who didn't have the same experiences that we have on the north side. So nonetheless, I used to try to fight, because I felt like those kids, like, I wasn't there for church no more. Like, I didn't care. I was a little kid, and I just didn't care. And they would look at me, and they probably wasn't looking at me, but in my mind they was. And I would turn around and, like, stick my tongue out at them. And because the rule was in the house, like, don't start none, like,
Don't start them.
Don't. They gotta hit you first.
Yeah,
like don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would like try to antagonize them, but those ain't the kids that's gonna hit you. You know what I'm saying? Like they not even these kids. They nice. They not gonna hit you.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one girl. She had the prettiest green brown eyes, and I didn't care. Like I wanted her to hit me so bad. I just like she would not hit me, and I was so mad. But I hated it. So then I started hating church because I hated children's church. I just felt like I was disconnected. I didn't identify with any of the people there. We couldn't afford, like there was one woman and she did vocal lessons. And I remember asking my mama, like, can I get some voice lessons? Mama couldn't afford it. And I'm like, everything out here, we can't afford nothing out here. Like, I just don't fit in. I hated it. Move up, get to, we end up switching to another church. Hated that. Like, by that point, I'm in high school. And I just, like, hate church. Oh, my gosh. I can't stand church. We used to skip church and go eat tacos because ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. I'm over it. We're not here. What time is it?
So did you carry hot sauce in your purse?
No, but we going to go get some tacos. Stop playing. So, how was the word? Good. Great. And so were these tacos. So nonetheless, hated church.
Oh man.
And it's so by the time I started hating church, like I used to really in real life, I used to cuss God out because I turned into like this very angry girl. Don't feel like I fit in. I play soccer. That's a whole different demographic over here. You know what I'm saying? You got school, you got church, you got the house, you got the streets. That's why I say I live triple life. I don't even know. I wasn't consistent in who I was, and I was lying. I had to, when you're young, I had to lie.
Let me ask you
Go
this.
ahead.
Because I feel like, growing up in the 90s, you had different parents. Like, my dad always told me, like, when we moved out here to Pickerington, been out here since, like, 2002. He said, when y'all get out here, we ain't in the hood no more. Gotta be like, like a gecko, you know what I mean? And blend into the society, you know what I mean? But I feel like as I've gotten older and as I became a man and I make my own decisions and, I'm consulting with God about this, consulting with God about that, I started realizing like, man, there's so much that I feel like I was taught wrong. Like growing up, like, and I feel like a lot of the ways, like the multiple personalities. Not to like label it as like a schizo or anything like that, right? But to say like when I can't be me, unapologetically, in front of everybody, that means when I go to church, they get this. When I'm at school, they get this. Then I feel like you have multiple faces. You wear multiple faces. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of us, especially ones that, grew up in the 90s, especially if you grew up in the inner city or even just like with a stern, like just good foundation at home, you was always taught like you got to wear a different face. Police pull you over. Yeah. You got to wear a different face. Yeah. You at school. We in Pickerington now, right? Yeah. You can't just fight a person because he said such and such. There's a go to the teacher. Da da da. I ain't telling you to let nobody whoop on you now. Yeah. But at the same time, I want you to make sure that you have all your stuff because they will expel you out here. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like it was always just change. So much to where now I feel like I do so much like personal branding stuff, and I'm so big on just allowing people to know who I am because of the fact that as I'm allowing people, I'm knowing who I am. Yeah. I'm getting to know who I really am. You know what I mean? And I feel like, for the longest, I didn't have that perspective. I step back and my wife, she'd be like, you friends with everybody, man. Yeah. But really what she's saying is like, you friends with everybody. Not everybody friends with you. And I see that, you know what I mean? Like, I see how people move for sure around you. But you just got such a good heart that I know you ain't gonna see it. You know, when we used to date, she used to be like, when we like dated and I wasn't married, because we still date. Married people should still date. That's how you make it to 50.
That is true.
I remember she would be like, yo, that girl was just flirting with you. Or the waitress was flirting with you. And like, I'm just not like, you know, I'm just a nice dude. Like, you know, you ain't realize she plated your food in the back and gave me a box.
Right.
You know me? I remember one time I was like,
yep.
She did? The audacity.
I'm
like,
hollering.
Bring her back. You know what I mean? But still, you know, and so, you know, it's just like, I've always suffered with identity. And finding my identity. And you know what's crazy, man? You really don't find your identity, man, until you really have found identity in Christ.
Yeah.
Talk about, like, you know, because you talk about how you had like multiple worlds. Yeah. And I feel like we all still might have multiple worlds. I feel like there's no way for me to always intermingle my personal life and my business life. So you're going to have division in there, but you can still be the same person. For sure. As much as I've known you, I've seen the same Caroline.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing today that there was a much different side than that. Talk about that transformation and what steps did you take to kind of work yourself out of that situation?
Yeah. I tell my kids, I got tired of lying to myself, if I'm being honest. Just like it's a lot to be great, it's a lot to keep up with lies. I mean, a lot. Like, you literally, the best way I can describe it is I literally felt like I was just dying every day. And what I mean by that is I had committed in my mind that God was not going to let me live past 25, 26 years old. When I was young, like I said, got caught up in a whole bunch of stuff as early as 12 years old. And at that moment, 12, 13, 14, 13 was probably the first time I tried to commit suicide by self-harm. I had committed that, like, I'm going to live a life of making bad choices, and I know that the end will be death, and I was okay with that. Because most people in my neighborhood, they was dying, in jail, being paralyzed, injured. So that's what I saw, and I said, I'm okay. So I lived a life. Even when I moved to college, I was going to live a life of just doing dirt. I could be the straight A student. I was that. Go to school. I can do these things. I did that. And then I also was doing all these other things. And so what happens is I used to play a game with God. And I used to be like, God, you need me. How much, like, you still gonna let me do good because I'm doing good. And I'm gonna keep doing bad because you need me. Kid you not. Like, I used to try to, like, bargain with God. Knowing I'm about crazy. It's a serious, I mean, it's the truth. Even when I moved to Columbus, Ohio, dirt didn't stop because I'm up here. I moved here, and that's what's so funny. We forget, and I tell you, you know, I moved up here, and I need to say that. I didn't just, I'm going to say this for my bio, but I always, we talking about God, and I can't talk about my degrees without giving honor to God. I didn't just graduate from the University of Oklahoma and the Ohio State University, but I graduated loan and debt-free as a first-generation student. And that's no goodness of my own. That's because God is faithful, and that's what God had for me. Yeah. And so that's just that. So let me just say that. But even still, I say that to say, I prayed to say, okay, God, I want to go to school, go to school and go to school for free. God, let me get accepted, come up here to the Ohio State University. And then I came up here and I said, all right, God, I'm ready to go. I don't want to be here no more. This ain't for me. I was about to drop out. I always say that one of these days when I publish one of my books, I'm going to put the email that I sent when I emailed them and I said, how much would it cost? Because I was on a full ride. How much would it cost if I dropped out of school right now? Like, what would I have to pay back? Because I'm a money person. That's the street. And, I'm like, just tell me what I got to pay back. Because then I pay that back.
What I owe.
We'll settle this debt. You feel me? And so, like, because I was just like, no, I don't want to be here. Like, I felt like I had got caught up and connected with just wrong spirits when I moved up here, being honest. And so, but even still, I'm doing dirt. And I'm still up here. Like, I'm going to die 26, 27 because I'm just committed to living like this. But then, you find yourself, I'm still doing the work with young people, still doing the work, trying to inspire, still doing these things, motivating. But that thing is heavy. Lying to yourself every day. Because you're not just lying to other people. Yeah. You're lying to yourself. Yeah. Lying to myself. I'm the one got to wake up with myself. I'm the one that got to go to bed with myself. Lies. Just a bed full of lies. You know what I'm saying?
And that's enough to kill a person.
Literally.
For real.
Literally. And so my transformation. And so what happened is my lies, yes. But then I also moved from I hated myself. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Because I hate this person that I've now become.
And it's so hard to create a new.
Very hard.
To you want to be new, but to create a new, and then you start getting in your head like, man, I'm gonna go around here and people just gonna bring up the same stuff.
And it wasn't even people bringing up stuff. It was me. I couldn't forgive myself. I couldn't let it go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so literally, it's like I had said, well, maybe God, this is just. We try to comfort our own self. I said, well, maybe God, this is just what you had for me. Was my life is supposed to be short, and I was only supposed to inspire people for these 26 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. But God had other plans. And it really took me actually trusting God. And I'll tell you, when I was in undergrad, because not only, I became very angry, like this happy, like Jubilee person people see now. Mm-hmm. I was at, when I was younger, sure. But then I became this angry, oh my gosh, just this angry girl, angry woman, like bad business, man. Mm-hmm. And people don't see that. People would say, oh no, not you. And I say, okay, okay, you believe I'm not here to convince you one way or another, right. But I know me. And it got to the point where I'm like, God, I'm tired. I'm tired of being angry. Mm. Like, I don't want to be angry no more. And I hated myself. And this man in college.
That just came out of nowhere?
Being angry?
Like the want to not be angry anymore. What happened that made you say, I can't be this way?
You want to know for real?
For real.
Okay. Hand me my phone. I'm gonna read something to you. It's gonna change the game. I guess he said this is what the podcast for. Well, we here now. We here now. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. We here now, but we thank God for deliverance. Yep. We do. I crack myself.
I feel like man, like we was talking about authenticity. It's in the transparency.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we gonna get real transparent. Buckle up, buttercup.
I'm ready.
So, I said it's lies. It's heavy. I guess Eddie said I'm talking too vague. He said, get down. Okay, I got you. So, it's heavy. These lies, they're heavy. I gotta sleep with myself. I gotta wake up with myself. Like, I'm angry. I hate this person that I've become. This is years of becoming like this. And one time I was involved with this man, and he was supposed to be getting a divorce. That's what he told me. But then one day I got a message, and it said, girl, it's really a shame you on Facebook lying about who you really are. Let me say this. Whatever blank told you about us was a lie. Yeah, he had to confess about you and him calling each other and sending stuff to each other. Just know I have every email. And because my husband gave them to me after my request, you are an adulterous woman. Remember that. God is not pleased with your behavior. You can't inspire anyone when you carry yourself the way you do. Know that you will eventually find a husband and you will experience the same thing. You will reap what you sow. Maybe he should have told you who I am in the spiritual realm. I knew about you before I got the conversation or the confession from him. He knows exactly what I'm capable of.
Wow.
So, Caroline Inspires, right? When somebody says you can't inspire nobody doing what it is that you do, conviction. Because I'm living this double, triple life. Now, I'm past teenage years. I'm grown. I'm a grown woman. But this is a habit that I had developed when I was young. And so, Caroline Inspires came about in 2015. That was 2018. About, 2024? About 6 years ago. And it was still a journey after that. And so, transformation came from conviction. It came from me being tired. It came from me trying to do it on my own. It came from me realizing, like, Caroline, you done dug yourself so deep. Like, your flesh is what got you in this. It can't get you out of this. Like, it cannot. And a pastor, the words that a pastor told me back in undergrad, I said, I hate emotions. I hate passion. I don't want none of this. Like, he said, no, don't say that. He said, you passionate at how you actually connect with people. He said, but Caroline, you don't have as much faith as you think you do. Personally, I'm the one that'll tell you, if God had a starting five for like who had most faith in the world, I feel like I'd be on the starting five, personally.
Point guard.
Personally. He said, you ain't got as much faith as you think you do. He said, because you compartmentalize God and you allow God to come into every aspect of your life except for your heart, except for your relationships. That was a tough pill to swallow. And I didn't swallow it for a long time because I don't care what you're talking about. I do got faith. That thing come back to bite me years later. Because the reality is I keep doing these same patterns over and over and over again because I don't trust God. I don't trust God that God would send me somebody to care about me and love me after everything that I've done. I don't trust that God would even allow me to be at peace with myself after everything that I've done. I don't trust this God that God would literally forgive me of all of the things, all of my not just unknowing sins, but my knowing sins. No, absolutely not. I don't trust God. So those actions, behaviors, that was it literally was reflecting my lack of trust, my lack of faith in God. And so the healing came about when I'm convicted, when I know God has called me to inspire, but I'm living this double life and I'm not reaching people in the way that I really should. It's all surface light. It's not penetrating. It's touch and go. So once I began to get honest with myself, honest with God, I do want to heal. No, God, I do want to. God, I'll live as long as you say. Like, even if you told me I'm done next year, you're not going to get no fuss out of me. That's what I've been telling God, because I live now. I live each day. I try to live right. I ain't perfect. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect, but I try to live right. But back then it wasn't no try in me. Not for real. And so it's just conviction. I'm tired. I don't want to do it no more. I'm tired of carrying this by myself. I'm tired of lying to myself. And then once I really started picking up working with these young people, I can't help them with no mask on. God ain't going to let me reach them the way that I need to reach them with this mask on. And once you commit yourself to God, there is you are responsible for your witness. You're responsible for your testimony. And every time I did something that was against the word of God, that every time I did something that was against God, I'm tainting my own testimony. I'm tainting my own witness. I ain't tainting God. I'm tainting the credibility that God has given me. I just keep messing it up. The more dirt you do, you just messing it up.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a responsibility. And to me, one of the greatest responsibilities, and I think God would agree, I can't tell you the exact scripture, but it's somewhere in the Bible where God love on the children. Mm-hmm. The children are a chosen people. And so because I know that God has called me to be with children, and now it's hitting me like, ooh, Caroline, you're not being honest. You can't help them. You limiting the help that you can give them because you still living this double life. You still out here doing. That's a whole different ball game. And so I had to get right.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, just the story about, how the transformation, like you sometimes, your back's going to get put against the wall.
Of course.
Right. And, one thing I always try to tell even my kids, my oldest, man, I'll be like, listen, you don't got to lie.
Yeah.
The truth hurt sometimes, but you ain't got to lie.
Yeah.
I don't want you to build up that habit.
Yeah.
Because it's a nasty habit to shake. And it's just like anything. If you start off in it fake and unauthentic, it takes almost twice the effort.
Yeah.
It really it's more effort than you can even put out.
Absolutely.
You got to go to God.
Yeah.
He the only one that can save you.
Yeah.
Or, like you said, we all know power of life and death is in the tongue.
Yeah,
you have been speaking your whole life that I'm dying.
I'm dying anyway.
I'm dying. I just said this on the last episode. Snoop Dogg talked about how he wrote murder was the case.
Yeah.
A year before he actually had a murder case.
Yeah.
He believes wholeheartedly that I wrote my destination down.
Yeah.
And the devil pays attention, not only to your conversations openly, but more so, like you said earlier, we talk to ourselves. Most creatives, most entrepreneurs, most people that got a lot of stuff going on, you got to sort it out with me first. I got to sort me out before I can even deal with y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That part.
So you always talking to yourself, but how many times in those moments do you just be like, really allowing the devil to hear all your secrets?
Yeah.
All the things that you really feel that you would never say to such and such, or I never say over here, I say over there. And so you have to be guarded. We in the overtime, y'all. You have to be guarded, with your thoughts and the things that you're saying.
For sure.
Because you almost talked yourself into the destination that, truth be told, at the end of the day, if it had to be you and God face to face, he'd be like, you said you wanted that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But God is so good that I have something so much greater for you. And it's crazy because sometimes I'd be like, God, like, come on, like Big G, we got to talk. Why'd you let me go through that?
Yeah.
Knowing you was going to get me here anyway.
Yeah.
Because, and the answer is always, I needed you to want me.
Yeah.
I always want you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I always wanted you. From the countryside of North Tulsa
I'm hollering.
to Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
I wanted you.
Right, for sure.
But also, we are that free will.
Yeah.
We are in control of how fast we get to a destination.
Absolutely.
Faster. You wonder why somebody else might be moving in spiritual blessing. Why they getting more. They receiving more.
Right.
But you don't know what they do behind closed doors.
Absolutely.
You don't know the hours that they're putting into their craft. And then on top of it, when you subscribe to him.
Yeah.
And like you said, I don't got no man. To be an entrepreneur, that's a whole nother beast. I don't got no man. I'm telling y'all, I'm with Caroline. We two contractless Negroes in the basement talking right now. I'm trying to tell you, gang. I don't got no contracts either. I did my last shoot for y'all. Thank you, y'all, Pastor y'all. I appreciate you. Because that was the last contract I just closed. My PayPal is dry. I ain't gonna cap. And
I'm
I got
hollering.
this $17.31 job an hour. And I'm steady down here sacrificing time to be able to create for y'all. Be able to get my gift still.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where I'm fulfilled at.
Absolutely.
That's what gives me joy. And it's only being at the bottom where every night I almost feel indebted.
Yeah.
To make sure I get on my knees and pray.
Absolutely.
I'm indebted. Like I wake up like today. I ain't gonna lie, it was funny as heck, man. You know, I've been trying to I've been telling God, I'm gonna spend more time with you, God. You know, I work from home. You done create. I can do my podcast. I got you so good, God. I gotta get back right. I know I've been terrible, right? So today it's noon. My youngest takes a nap at 1. I told him, hey man, from 12 to 1 every day now. Cause I'm an everydayer. I'm like, I can't do something one day and then
absolutely.
Like when I'm going hard in the gym because you see me there every day. The moment you see me miss one day, I'm probably off for the next 3 months. Yeah. You ain't gonna see me no more. And I tell them every day at 12 to 1, we need to dedicate. I want to show them how to dedicate some time to God. And whether you know how to pray, just get on your knees, just start talking to God.
Absolutely.
I want y'all to really embed that in your spirit.
Absolutely.
And we was doing it, and I mean, within 10 minutes, my youngest was asleep. He was over there on the Bible gang, I took a picture of him. I was like, and then he woke up I fell asleep. I was like, that happens sometimes, man.
I'm hollering.
Pick up your. We still got time left. You got to pick up your Bible. Yeah, he picked it up and went right back to sleep. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But it's like building those disciplines and knowing how to know what God wants. And I realized, man, I'm just reading. What did I read today? I said, I'm gonna go Old Testament. I mean, New Testament, and I read Matthew. And I said, I'm just sitting, I'm going to read Matthew. I'm going to read it as if it's a book that I'm interested in. That I want to understand.
For sure.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, and I ain't going to lie, I closed the Bible. I was like, man, that was a good, that was Matthew low-key. He off the chain, you know what I mean?
I'm weak.
I got through 4 chapters, you know what I mean? But God's going to reward that too. And so, like I said, it's knowing what God does want for your life, because I know that the things that he wants from me, you already know what he wants from you. He gave you the structure. There's people out here today that do not subscribe to him at all, but they obey the principles that are still in the Bible. That's how instead of scriptures, it's principles.
Yeah.
If I give, I receive.
Yeah.
When I get, I invest.
Yeah.
I don't hide it. I don't go spend it frivolously.
Right.
These are principles. That's all in the Bible. They're all stories, right?
Right.
And it's it's really just grasping that and understanding that life is what you make it. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that is just for me this whole road of just losing my job, getting a job, losing a job, getting a job, making good money, not making money, getting contracts, not getting contracts. Like it almost takes you to a point. And this year, this whiteboard right here used to be full of all my goals and stuff.
Yeah. And
I said, God, I wiped everything off of there. And I said, God, when you give me what I need to say, what I need to do, I'll write it up there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I want to, the Bible talks about seek ye first the kingdom. You know what I mean? And everything else be added unto you. I feel like that's really a posture, man. And a lot of people ain't really, don't know that. I don't even say people ain't trying to do that. I feel like a lot of people trying.
Yeah.
A lot of people try. But to do it and to want to do it, it's going to take some breaking. Yeah. It's going to take some sacrifices. It's at your lowest moments. And know when those moments is here. That's why when the pastor at the end of the church, when he's saying, I know there's somebody here that need prayer, don't hold your spirit back, man.
Right.
It's you. Go get your prayer. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, I'm big on what our people, man. Black folk, we so prideful. You know what I mean? We very, very prideful.
Yeah.
We care about, everything You know, growing up, you know, I feel like it's just so much our family dynamics, and it's so much that we went through. And then there's so much that we still go through today, non-verbally, verbally. Like, we still got to deal with racism. Still, and then you got all these hidden things that's just on your shoulders.
Of course.
You get what I'm saying? Black woman, black man, like, anybody, if you're African American, I just feel like you got a heavy weight on your shoulders. It's already hard. You already carrying enough. And now you talking about you want to be an entrepreneur. Now you talking about you want to go out here and inspire people. You want to be like Caroline, right? You wanna touch the masses. You want to be able to donate and get people to buy in on what you got going on. But y'all don't realize she tapped in.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like people will see that and they'll look past that. Yeah. They'll look at like, well, Caroline, what are you doing to be, you know, just you're here, you're there, you know, there has to be a secret. And it's sometimes it's like, no, I'm really exhausted, dog. Yeah. And I don't even want to be here right now.
I'm hollering.
you feel me? Like, I don't even want to be here right now, but God has me here for a reason, right? And I'm here on mission. For sure. So your story is just, it's amazing. I mean, you know.
God is, when I say God is the bomb, my relationship, and like you said, I had to tap into God for myself. And that's just it. Like, I mean, it's not a joke. Like, when I say I hated God, I remember I went to a church, even when I was a kid. I went to a church, y'all. I took a rock. And, you know, them pretty churches, they got them stained glass windows and pretty windows. But then, you know, on the outside, they got the mailbox that you lift up. And you can stick your hand inside, but you can be inside the church and feel it. That's where the mail go, not your hand. But I didn't care as a kid. I took a rock, and I went to the church, and I lifted up the mail thing. And there was a picture of Jesus on the wall. And I took a rock, and I just kept throwing rocks inside because I was determined to hit that picture. Oh, man. And I took a rock, and I hit that picture of Jesus, and it just shattered on that ground. And I was like, yes, I finally got it. Like, I didn't have no respect. I got to the point where what? I didn't care. I mean, I still go to church, you know what I'm saying, but I didn't care. And so that's just letting you know where I was. But I say it. And I say it to my grave. I know too much about God. Like, can't nobody make me doubt him. And whoever you are, you know, and wherever you are, God is also there even when you at your greatest moments. You know what I'm saying? And so I know sometimes it's real easy to think, well, I don't need God right now. Sometimes we just use God as like a teddy bear. And when we want comfort and cuddling, we pick the teddy bear up. We pick up God. And then when we got all the comfort and cuddling that we need, you put the teddy bear. We pick God up and we put God to the side. And God is, I think if we expand how we see God and who we see God as and what it is that we see God capable of doing, God will fit better into our life. We already fit, like you said. We already fit in God's life. Yeah. God already, you know, he knew us when we was in our mama's womb. That's what the words say. So we already fit in God's life. But I think that if we expand how we see God in the sense of, like, God can be around. Whether you happy, sad, like, it don't matter. And even as a business owner, I'll tell you something that, like, I read a book, and I think it was called Draw the Circle. I think that was a book that I read by Mark Batterson. I want to say that was the book that I read that talked to me about making God like the CEO of CarolineINSPIRES, LLC. And when God is the CEO, that means I consult with God for everything. Literally inviting God into every aspect of my life, not just after the deal, but in the process. Like, God is my consultant. Like, I meet with God to trust and hear and seek God and say, okay, Lord, what are you saying that I'm supposed to be doing? And for me, that has also been, I mean, the most, it's not even one, it's the most instrumental thing that I've done in this entrepreneurship journey is seeking God, trusting God, obeying God, because also what happens is we'll hear God clearly, but we won't obey what God said. And then we go back and we go pray again like God didn't already give us the answer. Like when you hear God, do what God says. Like do what God says. And yeah, you got to do what God says. And there's some things we got to learn to pray for in pairs. That's the way to put it. Because the knowledge is what, right? But wisdom is how do I apply what it is that I know? So the wisdom is the win. And if you only pray for knowledge and you're only seeking knowledge, then you can get to your point that you made earlier. You can get a Sony $8,000 camera. That's the knowledge. That's the what. Mm-hmm. But you don't know when to use all of these different things that you have. Mm-hmm. So learn to seek God in a complete way, like in a way that doesn't compartmentalize like what God is also just capable of doing, because God can provide you not just with the knowledge, but the when to, the how to, the whole setup. God can provide you with literally everything that you need to do to be successful, not just in your business, but in your personal walk, in your financial walk, in your health journey. Like God has literally been my everything, my all in all. And I'm going to say this because that's what I feel my spirit is saying. Give what you have. And it's easy for me to give because I've subscribed to the idea that what I have doesn't belong to me. So give whatever it is that you have. If it's time, give time. If it's money, give money. If it's your talent, your gift, give your gift. And it doesn't have to be a or thing. It can be an and. If you have time, money, gifts, give it all. Give it. It's going to come back. Like that's where trust comes in. I'm so ready to help people because I trust that what God has for me is for me. And so I don't hold on to nothing for the sake of like, well, if I give this away, then they going to use it and I ain't going to have nothing. No. Because what God got you on assignment to do, the words say heaven and hell will fade away before his word ever return back void. And so
come on now.
If God has told me that, Caroline, I'm going to see this thing through, then I trust that. So when I see somebody imitating my work, that's what allows me to hold my peace. When I see somebody out here when I hear somebody giving me a backhanded compliment, that's what allows me to hold my peace. When I see somebody trying to withhold information or knowledge from me, because a lot of people want you to be great, but they don't want you to be great without
gatekeepers, man.
When I see that happening, that's what allows me to hold my peace, is because I trust God, the giver of all good and perfect things. God got me. Like got me. Like when I say got me, I mean got me. And it don't matter if I see you. You ain't got to answer to me. You got to answer to God. So I don't concern myself with things. It's a beautiful thing to wake up in the morning. And not every day is perfect, but it's a beautiful thing to wake up and be like, all right, God, what are we doing today? All right, God, am I on the right track today? And not being in this rat race, right? And I use this analogy, Be Your Mark, this movement that I founded, is this idea of not only owning your journey, but being on your journey. Own is a double, what's the word? It's like a play on words. Own. Own is in O-W-N, ownership. Like take ownership of your journey. And then own, O-N, like be on your journey. Like you need to be on your way, right? Be your mark. When you think about a race, they say, runners, on your mark. Here's the thing. Before that gun go pow pow, if you're not on your mark, you're automatically disqualified from the race. You can be in your lane and not on your mark, and you still disqualified from the race. So it's not just about doing good in life. It's not just about, oh, I got this. I achieved this in life. Are you doing the things that God has called you to do? Are you walking in the steps that God has ordered for you? And if not, don't be surprised when you get tired. It's a lot of people out here tired. They're not tired from running their race. They tired because they running a race they were never called to run in the first place. Mm-hmm. And I know it because I got tired running races that I wasn't supposed to be running.
Say that again.
Yeah, God gonna give you water, but like, you brought that upon yourself. And at some point, we have to be honest. We have to acknowledge, like, I could chalk everything up to trauma. Sure. I could chalk things up to, oh, well, this is what happened in my past, and this is what happened. And yes, some things did, and some things are a result. Behaviors and choices now are a result of things that happened to me. But then some things are because of choices that I made that I have to own. I have to own the things that I did, right? And so, yeah, God is the greatest. And I think that's the cool part is God gives you space and grace.
Amen.
Space and grace.
Amen.
And that's where I rest. That's where I have peace every day. Like, it's cool. And I say that like, being from the South, they say, oh, it's cool. You all right with me. That's one of the highest things. It's cool. And not like I'm playing it off, but life is cool. It's sweet. Sweet. When everything else is falling apart, world going crazy, people want you to worry. Sweet. That's the best word I have right now is life is sweet. Didn't even know life could be sweet. Didn't experience a sweet life. Couldn't smell a sweet life. But life right now is sweet. Do I have everything I want? No. But I got everything I need.
Amen.
Everything. And so I trust God. And you said something about praying, My best days are when I give God my first conversation, my first hello. Wake up in the morning like, hey, God. Breath funky and all. Hey, God. Talking to the birds. Hey, birds. I heard y'all out here singing. Animals teach us a beautiful thing. They be up there. I'm like, why y'all up this early? Because they up. They alive. They still kicking. Give God your first. First in the morning. Not your last. Not when you tired. I mean, God is still accepted, but make it a habit of giving God your first so God can give you the rest. Give God your first, God will give you the rest. And when you give God, I don't even know, like, yeah, you give God your first, and God will give you the rest of like what you're supposed to do, not just that day, that week, that month. God's so dope. God can deposit something in your spirit today in 2024 that's gonna be used in 2042. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how amazing, that's how forward thinking, that's how intentional God is. Give God something, that's what they say. He the potter. Give God something, give God some clay, as the folks say. Give him something to work with. So give him your first. You might not have nothing to give, but here, God, this is what I got. Here, God, I got a headache, I'm tired, but here you go, God. And God take all of that. So, yeah.
Caroline Inspires, y'all. Yeah. Caroline Inspires. Look, man, I really only asked like 2 questions.
I'm hollering.
and man, I've been telling my wife, these past I don't know, since episode 10, since I made the decision to give God the Director's Den platform. Yeah. Things have. It's like church on Sunday when the spirit is flowing, the pastor ain't gonna interrupt the spirit. If the praise and worship have set the tone, and the same thing, vice versa, right? And so, I feel like these episodes have just been amazing. Your life is amazing.
Thank you.
Your life is beautiful.
Thank you.
You're going somewhere. You've already arrived, right? And the beauty in that is this is just an escalator, just going up. Going up, one escalator, you know what I mean? And so, I hope y'all really took away so much from this episode because so much transparency, so much rawness, so much love, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, God is love, right? And,
Literally.
and if you look at her life, like when you think about your testimony, don't think about anything that has to do really from you, like benefiting you. Look at your testimony as is a way for God to get glory. If it does not provide him glory, I don't believe he wants that for you. And that's just, you know, that's how I evaluate my life. That's how I look at, that's just how I judge things. You know, I feel like everything that I've had that I've tried to construct on my own has failed.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that have succeeded have been everything. When I got married, what's the first thing you do at the marriage? You give. You're giving you yourself and your wife to the Lord for him to come in, right? Like, and my marriage, we celebrating 10 years this year. You get what I'm saying? It's not 50, Mom Dukes. You know,
you
we
ain't
gonna
even
get
been
there.
on the earth 50
We
years.
I know. Dang,
But
dang.
you will.
But that's the goal though. That's the goal. But
Yeah.
we 10 years in, and the only reason we had it doesn't mean that it didn't come with pain. It didn't mean it ain't come with some ups and downs.
For sure.
It ain't mean that it's like, you know, this basement might have been my home for couple weeks, gang. You know what I mean? Like, I need separation. You know what I mean? I'm down in the den, you know. Before the den was a den. You know, this was my holding cell.
I'm hollering, not holding cell.
But when I look back at over why it lasts, a lot of marriages ain't lasting that long. A lot of people don't want it to. First, you got want it, and then two, like you gotta endure. Endure, like mean press forward, like she said, press through. You know, you gotta allow yourself to be remolded. Her life is transformed. You get what I'm saying? Like when I'm hearing your story, I'm hearing, like you said, the potter, the clay. You're the clay. You were in one form, and now it's just totally molded.
Yeah.
Same spirit, right? It's just crazy how flick of a switch and what God can do in your life. And so,
and you said something that I just want to make sure about God getting the glory, and I think that's why it's been such a beautiful journey here recently, like within the past year, maybe past 4 years. God has released me to share certain parts of my story because there's a season for everything.
Right.
And sometimes when you go through stuff, and I know this working with young people, you have to be careful. You have to be responsible with your story, because if you're not, some people will glorify it. And some people will use your story to justify their own current behaviors or actions. And so for a long time, I knew there were things that I should talk about, but God didn't give me the words to talk about it yet, because the way that I would tell it in a way of, I was doing this and I was still able to be blessed. You could do it too.
Right.
And it would glorify me rather than God. And so over the years, God has allowed me to not necessarily be broken, but to really say, I'm free. Praise the Lord, I'm free.
Yeah.
No longer bound, no more chains holding me. Like, I'm literally free from these things. And the devil, the enemy, will have you to think that you still close to these things that had you in bondage. And so if you're still close to it, you don't feel right talking about it. You don't feel like you can talk about deliverance in this area because you still close to it.
Yeah.
And I let that hold me for a long time. But God, I really believe that over the past couple of years, God has allowed me to say, God has said, no, daughter, like, I got you. And I'm telling you, you free. Like, you're being released to share these things in this season, in this time, and in this place. And so I've never, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never read that on no podcast, and not because I'm like, oh, let me see,
Yeah.
but I'm delivered. And I believe that. And if whoever you are out there, it's easy to look at me, and I know, I ain't no telling. To God be the glory for all these things, right? But like, whatever it is that you're struggling with, I ain't saying I done struggle with everything. That's not what I'm saying. But I done struggle with a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to look at a person, and it's easy, whether you judging them for good or you judging them for bad, you still judging them. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy for somebody to look at me and judge me and think or hear certain things. You sing so well, you speak so well. That comes from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it does. It comes. I earned that because of the calling the God gave me, but then also the stuff that I had to work my way out of and through. Like that's why I sing the way I do. That's why I speak the way I do. That's why I show up the way I show up, because I believe that young people have more life on this earth than I do because they're younger than me. So if I can help them, I care about helping the older people too, my peers and all that good stuff. That's cute. But I care about these babies out here because I didn't have a me when I was younger. I didn't have nobody. I'm 12 years old, involved with men twice my age and some change. You know what I'm saying? My first alcoholic drink is what? 12. I started smoking Black and Milds. You know what I'm saying? Middle school. So you start thinking about these things. You start the stuff that I went through. I didn't have no younger person like me. I didn't have that. So I'm doing the best that I can. But I be doggone if a young person that I meet that's in my indirect or direct light feels like they can't come talk to me about something that they're going through, whether it's sexuality, whether it's addictions, drugs, alcohol, prostitution, like whatever it is, with no judgment, because I've been there. I probably done that, right? But I'm telling you, the one being that was there the whole time was God. Even when I left me, when I gave up on me, God never did. There's still purpose. So whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you're dealing with, God, I'm telling you, God will take that thing, whip something up real quick, and you be on your way.
Yeah.
Be on your way, on his way and out your way. There we go. There we go. You on his way and out of your own way. Get out your way. You know what I'm saying? Like, gotta give it to him. God, I can't do nothing with this. This little life of mine, I can't do nothing with it no more. You got it. And God said, I got you. Don't you worry. So, trust God. Trust God. That's all I got. Trust God. Keep trusting God. God do amazing things. God don't treat us how we treat him. God don't throw us away. So,
Caroline, give them your IG. Where can they find you? How can they tap in with you? A lot of people gonna see this episode and may have questions. What's the best way to reach you?
Hey y'all. Well, you can reach me on Instagram. 2 Instagram pages. One is Caroline Inspires. The other one is Yes, Caroline Inspires. Facebook, 2 pages. One is Caroline Inspires. The other is Caroline Bennett. YouTube at Caroline Inspires. LinkedIn, Caroline Inspires Bennett. And then my website is CarolineInspires.com. You can reach me on, any of those platforms. Hit me up. I really be chilling. So text me, send me a message, send me an email or whatever. And I don't think I'm trying to think about if I got anything else to say. I've been leaving this with people, so I'm going to leave it here too, because this is like my going away piece. May I?
Go ahead.
Bet. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. This little light of mine I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine said I've got to let it shine. This little light of mine, I've got to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, oh, let it shine. They say light is the only thing that can minister to darkness. Trying to inspire myself, but I can't first seem to locate where my heart is. I've misplaced it. In the cares of those who don't matter, I've exchanged it. For the approval of those who don't care, rearranged it. Transitioned it from the left to the right, and when I find myself reasoning with my soul, I write with my left. Overs rehearsing the same narrative. Dreams have gotten smaller. My vision must be impaired again. Oops, I couldn't see it. Dang, if I could hear it. Objects in the mirror are closer than they're appearing. So here I am, readjusting my perspective. Hills look like mountains until you stand right next to it. Never above or around, but always through it. Pushing past the pain when things are getting bluer. Standing on the promise when the grass ain't greener. Staying on the boat despite the waves are getting wilder. Preserving your peace when negative thoughts have put your mind up. Pursuing your purpose, don't lose sight. I dig into one.
Yeah, alright, so that's it right there.
My mind was favored. I wonder, worrying with my fears still a show. Fasting and praying, will these seeds ever grow? Will my glow ever show? Will my story be told? Will my soul be sold? I wondered. My heart became the wilderness, my mind was Pharaoh. Disobedient to a God who would call me to let my ideas go, to let my creativity flow. They say light is the only thing that can illuminate darkness. Trying to inspire myself, I had to first remember why I started. Never mind the days when motivation had departed. The harvest is plenty, y'all. The laborers are few. So when you shine your light, make sure that it has the exact same power to come back, strengthen, and inspire you. Thank you.
Yo, that was Caroline Inspires, and this is episode 24 of the Director's Den. You already know what it is, man. Caroline, thank you for coming through. We appreciate you. Everything that you're doing for the community, man. We wanted to definitely make sure you got your flowers as well. Make sure y'all go follow Caroline Inspires. Y'all got the ads, run it back, rewind it, do whatever you gotta do. I'm gonna drop it in the bio below too, so you guys can have all her information. Follow to her, as you can see. I mean, she cooler than a fan.
Come on, cooler than a fan. Cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Right. You feel me? So make sure y'all tap in, and make sure y'all tap in with the Director's Den on all platforms, man. It is the Director's Den with your boy, I am Eddie Jackson, and we out. Peace.
Yeah.
Yes.